Vice President Atiku Abubakar has proposed a 6-year single-term rotational presidency between the southern and northern regions of Nigeria. Atiku's proposal, addressed to the Deputy President of the Senate and Chairman Senate Committee on Constitutional Review, Senator Barau Jibrin, also contained recommendations that bordered on themes such as procedures for the educational qualification of candidates in election, internal democracy in political parties, and rotation of presidential position among the 6 geopolitical zones of the country. These recommendations are aimed at addressing key issues in the current electoral laws and promoting a system that fosters national unity and fair competition for political offices. According to him, it will also enhance internal democracy within political parties and tighten the legal framework governing elections in Nigeria. Well, joining us in the studio is legal practitioner and PDP stalwart, Tunji Abdulhamid. Good morning. Welcome. It's good to have you join us.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Now, this is not the first time the matter of rotational presidency is coming on the front burner. At some point, there were some 35 lawmakers that also proposed a 6-year rotational presidency, and I think that met some roadblock. And now again, from a presidential candidate, Atiku Abubakar is also proposing it. But the question is this really a solution to the matters that have been bedeviling us as a country when you talk about national integration, a sense of oneness, and all of it?
Well, let me first of all commend Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, His Excellency, for deeming fit to suggest or propose solutions that he thinks will likely solve our problems. The issue of rotational presidency, the nature of government we are running or whatever, has been an issue for long. And just like you said, recently some lawmakers, 60 of them or so, from the House of Rep, proposed that they were in the forefront of that. I think it's still in the cooler. Yeah. They are still working on it. But it's an effort to also find solutions to our problems. If you recall that one of the major problems we've been having in this country is the issue of people complaining about marginalization, yes. And we are not allowed to. In fact, if you look closely, the 2023 election, the major basis of used by Governor Wike when he failed to click the ticket was the issue of marginalization, that is a turn. In fact, the president, this current president, also used it. It's my turn, it's local, or our local. You see, those things are issues. So, in other words, people are looking at it in a way that, look, we are not looking like one. And probably they are thinking, if you now say, let's rotate, probably it will go around everybody. Like I said again, I appreciate Alhaji Atiku Abubakar. I commend his efforts. I in particular, I do not believe that rotational presidency or 4-year terms or 8-year terms will solve our problems.
Why?
Yeah, I don't believe so. But I think it's just an effort to to keep people who are talking about marginalization in check. Probably that's what he's thinking. To say, look, if we do this, if we do that, we'll know that this is where it will go this time around, this is where it will go this time around. You know, it's been like that in PDP until when the President Jonathan came in. And the unfortunate death of Yaradua changed the situation. And then the President was supposed to complete the terms of the former late Yaradua, and then they stepped down for the not to continue. But he said he wants to go ahead, and he contested, and he won. So that changed the situation in that regard. And that was why last time Atiku Abubakar said, look, it's not your turn. Let's forget that. So what I'm saying is that, look, I am saying it may likely not solve the problem. Because one, rotational presidency, where we even say north and south, when we say north and south, the issue of microzoning will also come in. And the issue of our zone, our house, our constituency has never been president. Are we going to break down all those in the constitution? Are we going to say that all those in the law? Because I know it will come up in the future. Because I know the problem we're having now is that South-North. In fact, the last election, the problem we have why Alhaji Atiku Abubakar did not step down for where we later went, the PDP later went on to do allow everybody to contest by a committee headed by former governor of Benue State, which said everybody should go and contest, was because Alhaji Atiku said, look, as long as it's not going to be shown to Southeast, I have the right to contest. So, and that did not happen. So what I'm saying is that the issue of it should be to our house, it should be to my constituency, it should be to my ward, it should be to our local government, will also arise. Until we have sincere leaders in government, whether 10 years, whether 4 years at a time, whether rotational, whether you take it to Southeast, Southwest, or whatever, it won't bring development. Because I've seen examples, and that's why I say I don't believe it's a solution to our problem. If it's pollution, if we're talking about governance and results or development, that will not solve it. That may solve the problem of people complaining about being marginalized in a way, to an extent. But the issue of governance, it may not solve it. Because I have seen the president from the Southwest. The road that leads to his farm were not attended to. Because of certain things in the area. I've been long that I've been to Bayelsa. It's been long, even before the president, Jonathan, came in the office. I have been told that they don't have drinking water in Bayelsa. They don't have good roads in Bayelsa. They have president for how many years? 6 years. We are now in the Southwest. Everybody's talking about hunger.
But
are those in Lagos or Southwest? Right. Are they not hungry too?
But an argument, against those two examples that you cited would be that do those areas fall under the jurisdiction of the federal government? Could you not argue that is a lapse?
It is. Bayelsa is part of
local
Nigeria.
Government. Could you not say the local or state government?
No. Yes, I agree with you. Like I said, when you talk about Bayelsa State, you talk about what's it called? Ogun State or whatever, they are part of Nigeria. And what my point is that, I even brought this to my point. My point is that the fact that you come from a particular place does not mean that place will be developed. So why must you insist that it must be from a particular geographical location for us to have development in our area? If that is the case, that means you are saying just come and do it. Just come from your area, develop your area, and go. Forget about other places. If that's what they're thinking, some of those who believe in the rotational presidency or whatever, I don't believe in it. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying, like I said, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar has done very, very well. In fact, apart from that particular proposition, other positions I agree with them. I align with them. I'm in support of it. Even though they are my concerns with some of them as well. But I believe that look, those issue of rotational presidency is like we're not doing democracy again. We're trying to restrict it to certain. But I also agree. I also want to understand that look, Alhaji Atiku is probably thinking about our nature, ethnic sentiment, and all those things, and religious sentiment. So trying to balance that. He's bringing that solution. And that's why I say I appreciate him. I appreciate his position compared to those who are even calling for let's abandon this constitution and do another constitution. His own proposition is even has a basis that can be considered. Those calling for a new constitution don't even have a basis under which those will come up. So for me, I rather prefer the way Alhaji Atiku Abubakar is going by bringing his own proposition up. That does not mean when you propose something, it's not automatic. Absolutely. It's not forced on anybody. It's just this way I see it. Let's look at it and let's consider it. So when as you brought it up now, people will bring out certain areas, concerns. So that they will likely look at it and say, okay, because of this concern, because of this area, let's work it this way. Let's work that way. It's a good way to go as far as I'm concerned, and it's commendable.
Right.
But it may not solve our problem.
Yeah, you have re-emphasized that.
Hey, that does not mean it's not good. It's bad,
of course.
You have a point.
So it's a matter of perception. Now that's your perception. Another person will perceive it as a solution, and that is where I am headed. How can we harmonize?
I don't think anything.
One size fits all. Yes. So that's where I'm actually headed in terms of how do we really resolve the issues that are the elephant in the room, or the issues that make up the elephant in the room as it is. Talk about unity, talk about seeing ourselves as being one Nigerian in the first place, and not just being defined by your ethnicity, your color, or your religion as it is. Why is it so difficult for us to see ourselves as one? We are always suspicious of one another, or it has to be from my end, it has to be from this end. It's becoming a challenge.
Yeah, it is. It is a serious challenge, and it's about our attitude, and it's about leadership. Because when we have leaders in power that want to tend to just align to one particular side of the land, because this is where I come from, or these are my people that I know, you find this kind of a thing. People would see to it as, what are we? We have a president that just let and say, I can only work with people I know. I can only work with people I know. Does he know everybody all over the world? What people he knows are for people from his place, of people who come across him, where they are doing some other things. So if you have that kind of mindset, whereby you appoint people and then set of people from certain set of area, for instance, in this regime, people have been complaining about the president focusing on appointing people, majorly people from the southwest, into a critical area of our economy. So people are also complaining. So this kind of a thing will make people look like, are they trying to play one game for us or not? So until we have leaders who are sincere and who will not do things.
What makes a sincere leader?
It's not when you are looking at sentiments, religious, ethnic, or whatever sentiment you're doing, whatever you're doing.
Who determines what is sentiment?
When it's perceived, it may be perceived. Mm-hmm. It may be perceived. When you appoint, look at it. Okay, let's break it down. Let's look at this cabinet and look at the key areas in our economy and mention the names of people who are holding it. They are from the southwest.
Also, the appointment was not based on competence. Is that what you're saying?
That's the point. That's what I'm making. That's what people turn into.
No, it's a question.
Competence, and what happened to Section 14? 72.
It's a question I asked. So, are you saying they were not appointed based on competence?
No, there are people who are also competent in other areas. From other zones. It's not only people from the southwest that are competent. If you are saying so, there are people from other areas that are competent, that are even better than those who are there now today.
Have they proven their mettle? Have they proven their mettle so that they are
are they proving their own? Are they showing any sign of
before they were appointed? Did they prove it or not?
Where? How?
I'm asking.
That is not to the president. It's not known to me because I've not seen them do it. Show it. So if what I'm saying is that I'm not saying the president does not have the prerogative of appointing people he likes. They were saying that if you want to do away with this sentiment and I want unity, I want people to believe that we are one. The sentiment of appointment, when you are making appointments, when you are dealing with people, the sentiment of is our own, it's not our own, will cause problem when you put that into consideration in appointing people. That is the point I'm making. I'm not saying it's only this president that has been doing it. I've mentioned the former president of so many other presidents have done that too. I'm not saying this is the only president that's doing it. I'm saying as long as we continue.
You need to also bear in mind that the Constitution says that appointments need to be made, according to the states of the federation, which is also what we are seeing. Which is also what we are seeing now. So when you talk about key positions and all of that, yes, of course, it's your view. It's your
Ogun State alone, we have about how many ministers from Ogun State alone? How many do we have from Ogun State alone? Tell me. The CBN governor is from where? The finance minister is from where? Mention some major. FIRS is from where? A blue economy is from where? I can mention so many to you if I can remember. What? So for me, let's just keep it that way. Let's just believe that. The point I'm making is that as long as we continue to allow sentiment, ethnic sentiment or whatever sentiment, to drive our appointment or any other thing that we're doing, that unity will not be there. People will not believe that these people are not trying to play game or not. So until we have those leaders who will come and say, look, I don't know you. That even if I'm a junior brother, I'm senior brother, if you are not, I will do things in line with the law. I will allow federal character to guide me. I will not appoint a minister from one state and appoint one or half from other states. That's the point I'm making.
Some will say a person like Bosun Tijani was from another party that's really criticized.
It doesn't matter. Where does it come from?
How it is that it's important we have a leader that is sincere in his approach. That is the way people will have a sense of unity, a sense of addressing whatever the issues are that we have been trying to find solutions to. Why people, a lot of persons are proffering either rotational presidency or even abandoning the constitution, so to speak. So, Kemi.
Yeah. Right. I also wanted to make a point earlier because, so the Atiku Abubakar personality would also, come into focus now because I recall you were speaking minutes ago about the last general election, which we can always, take cues from, and even now it's good we're having this conversation looking at the drama that occurred in the People's Democratic Party, the dust is yet to settle how Atiku emerged. Atiku Abubakar emerged as the presidential candidate. You've given some explanation, but I just wanted to, expatiate some more about it, because many would say, coming from him, why would you, be making this clamor now? After all, the way you emerged as candidate, it also seems like you scattered the rotational policy in your own party.
And you're also talking about internal democracy.
Those people are not correct, and maybe probably they are being mischievous, or probably that they lack understanding of what is on ground at that time, or probably they are being used by other parties to just execute the party. Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, His Excellency, went through the process of the primary and everything, and he emerged. And those who even call later, thereafter, to say they are not going to follow because they have a formula of the party. One of their members, G5 members, the former governor of Benue State, a committee was set up. When that issue of Sunni came up, a committee was set up by the party. What do we do? The Benue State government was the chairman of the committee. He was the chairman, and we also know former Benue State government is part of the G5. Those who are later clamoring, saying that it must be South turn or whatever. He came up and said it should be thrown open. It should be thrown open. Even on the day of election, I was there. I was at convention. The minister of FCT, after he said it, that I will support anyone that wins this election. He didn't say if you are from the north or whatever, I will not follow. I will not agree. He said it. Because he lost something and he wants to take advantage of what is on ground. He started pounding in the issue of marginalization or sentiment of South. It was for his personal interest. That is the truth. Those who work against Bata at that time, they are doing it for their personal interest. Let's even leave that one. What we're saying now is that, look,
the reason why I even brought it up was, maybe to buttress or otherwise. Now, the point you were making that even if we make it rotational, you even broke it down further that then there could also be some units within the region or within the region. There could even be issues that, okay, so which of the sub-regions should emerge as, candidate of the presidency, for example. Now, it's just, so the point I'm just trying to ask you on is, how do we even take this through? How sincere would we be? What if we bring it on board now and then it scatters or does not even see the light of the day? How sincere are we really as a people?
That's why I said I want to commend Alhaji Atiku Abubakar for bringing those up. That would be, it's now a subject of discourse. People are stating their own position, their concern, their support, their lack of support for it. With that, those who want to work on it will be able to know what are the advantages and disadvantages of this thing. We are not going to look at say because it's coming from Alhaji Atiku, because that's what some people are looking at. It's coming from Alhaji Atiku Abubakar. Why should we? It's not for his personal interest. Does that make him a president? If we say let's do regional president, is that automatic? Does that make him automatic president? Does that say that there won't be any election again? So for me, rather than us looking at the messenger, we'll look at the message. And then just like we're having the discussion on it now, so many discussions will come up on it. And
Absolutely.
People will look at it and then people to make profound grant decision on it, either to advantage or disadvantage. So for me, apart from it raised certain issues.
Yes, that's
why I expect other people to be doing, especially those who are just moving from one place to another, talking about these constitutions are a problem. Which constitutions are a problem? Who's going to implement the constitution? It's not a human being. It's the constitution we have today. If you implement it 40% the way it is, Nigeria will be Dorado. Because we are not sincere, because people want to manipulate to their own advantage, and that's what we are doing.
Because of our time, I need us to quickly look at some other recommendations that he made, talking about the current electoral laws and promoting a system that fosters national unity and all of it. He talked about educational qualification and all of it. But the matter that some other persons are bringing to the table is our electoral system, how we can modify it in such a way that it reflects, the decisions of the people, that it is transparent, free and fair, that is what we should even be looking at as against the matter of this rotational presidency. And
it's just one of his recommendations.
I know. I'm saying some other persons have made that suggestion as well. those who are also against this matter of rotational presidency, they are saying we should look at our electoral laws, our electoral system, how we can improve upon it such that it is transparent, free, and fair. And so, from your perspective, when you look at our body of laws electorally, it's seeming like people are not reposing confidence in the whole system and process. Let's take a cue from the Edo governorship election, for instance. Over 2 million persons got their PVCs, but when you look at the percentage of persons that turned out, it's so disheartening. And that is what the concern is for a number of persons, because there are those who say that, oh, when we even come to vote, at the end of the day, the courts will resolve it, so our voices are not being heard. How do we resolve this matter?
Yeah, for me, too, it's also a serious concern that our electoral system is not working. It's not working not because the laws are not there. I want to admit, for people who will not listen very well, I want to admit that our constitution is not perfect. I want to also admit that because some people will come and say, why are we saying this constitution is not the problem? The constitution is not the problem. Our constitution is not perfect. It has lacuna. It has omissions. And those who did it are human beings. They cannot know what will happen tomorrow or next tomorrow.
And even if you have to change it, a human being will still do it.
Yes, the problem we're having are those who are implementing the law. The way it is. We have law that is very clear, straightforward. The INEC came up with in fact, I'm even supported now sometimes judiciary. Because the Supreme Court is not even every matter, sometimes. How can you say a law made, there's a law which empower INEC, for instance, to make guidelines. If a student, even a student of government in secondary school, knows that there's what called dedicated legislation. I know that regulations and policies by agencies of government are called dedicated legislation. Supreme Court now said that regulation by INEC or guideline is a mere what's it called? Guideline, and they are not under obligation to obey it. That is not correct. With due respect. Guideline that is made in line with law. What's wrong to the law? The law says INEC, by other section, I can't remember the section again in the law, in the Constitution and the Electoral Act, that INEC has the power to make guideline, rules, and whatever for the purpose of election. And based on that law, they make guidelines. And somebody is telling me it's their choice. They can either follow it or not follow it. That is not correct. And that is exactly the area we're having problem. When we turn law into other side because we want it to fulfill ourselves. You talk about, INEC came up and say, I will transmit a result. What's it called? What they call it now? Through RF.
Portal.
Portal. They mentioned they used one adjective that they will
real time.
And they say they have the right to. That's not correct. And that's encouraging impunity. Outside and transmission of results. And when they made that law, I said when they gave INEC discretion to determine how to transmit results. I remember that time. I raised the issue. I said this is a grant to give INEC who wants to do mago to be able to do whatever he wants to do.
We cannot use such words right now because we have not.
No, I didn't say INEC. I didn't say who want to. So if you are a human being, you have a mindset of doing something. You have a law to back you up. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying this particular, and it may even be. It may be. It may be.
We have to be careful with our choices.
Yeah, that's why I didn't say the Mahmoud Yakubu did that. I said INEC. Who wants to?
Okay.
So I know I'm a lawyer. I know what I'm saying, and I know how to use my my
quickly because.
So what I'm saying is that look, as long as we have human beings who manipulate law to favor certain interests, we won't get it right. No matter how good our electoral act is. Look at what happened in Edo State. Before election, we know how police were going after one people or the other in the name of they kill somebody. Today, did you see them go after anybody after the election? Did you see them go after anybody? What does that tell you? It tells you that they have a target. It's because of the election, what they were doing. So as long as we have security agencies, we have INEC who will not play fairly. There is nothing. If I go and import, UK don't have a written law. They are doing well, and there's no problem. Then because we have people who are not sincere in a position of authority, people who see their loyalty instead of their loyalty to the nation. Okay. Their loyalty is to those who are in leadership, who are appointed into a position. We can't get it right.
Okay, and we'll have to leave that here now, the conversation here now. Legal practitioner and PDP stalwart Tunji Abdul Hamid. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for having me. It's my pleasure to be with you.
Right. Now we move on to this question of will the removal of